Welcome to Hidden Treasures of Santa Fe. I'm Helen Pacheco, I am your host, and today we are filming live in the beautiful residence of the Shriners. Harriet and Carl are the curators of Chispa. We have a fabulous show set up for you. We're going to talk about Chispa, and we're going to talk to some of the artists involved in Chispa. Harriet, Carl, thank you so much, first of all, for your hospitality.
You're very welcome.
You got to tell us all about Chispa. What is Chispa?
I'm happy to tell you about it. Chispa is a one-day art show. First of all, Chispa means a spark, and this is a spark of a show. We have 15 award-winning artists, all under one roof at the beautiful La Fonda Hotel in the La Terraza room, Sunday, December 8th from 10 to 4. This will be our third year of Chispa. And the way this show got started is a few collectors got together and we were talking to each other about, wouldn't it be great if we could put together our own show of only our favorite artists? So some of our favorite artists are standing right here today. So that's how the show got started. It's been a huge success. It's a fun day at La Fonda Hotel, and we have live music throughout the entire event, so it's a real festive show. It's a great time to buy gifts for the holidays, gifts for yourselves, wonderful collector pieces. So come and join us and the collectors on December 8th at La Fonda.
Perfect. Let's take a little time and talk to each one of our artists. Here we are with our first artist. This is Floyd. Floyd is a fabulous wood carver. These are some of his examples, and they're done in the Cordova tradition. Floyd, thank you so much for being with us today. Tell us a little bit about how long have you been doing your wood carving?
I've been doing it for about 35 years, I say. Been in the market for 32.
In the Spanish market for 32 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And now you're in Chispa.
Now in Chispa for the third year.
For the third year. It's been a fabulous show.
It is.
Tell us, it looks like you're a nature lover. You've got so many beautiful animals. What is your inspiration?
Well, I grew up on a farm.
Aww.
Love animals. And my whole family does animals, so it's, you know.
So it's a family.
It's a family thing, yeah.
Fabulous.
It was started by my great-grandfather back in 1917.
That long?
That long.
Amazing. So you said something about sitting by a brook.
Yeah, whenever I have free time, I go sit in a brook and I listen where the brook talks to me.
Aww.
That's why I just sit, I enjoy doing that.
That's beautiful. So it's not just a job, it's a pastime.
Yes.
It's fabulous. Okay, so we've got, they look like little, oh my God, the deer, no, the sheep.
It's a sheep.
And the little cow.
No,
or no, that's a sheep
another
too.
sheep.
This is a herd of sheep, and look at the little pig.
It's not a pig, it's a rhinoceros.
Oh, I thought it was
It's a little tiny rhinoceros.
A little
It's a
tiny
baby
rhinoceros.
rhinoceros, and I love the heart. That's fabulous, the way you put the feelings in there. And then this, which turns. Tell us about the one you did motorized like this.
I did one like this, about the same size, but I had it rigged up where I put a little motor on it, and it would turn.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I done them with music boxes, you know.
So can people custom order from you?
Yeah, but it takes a while.
Okay, so they'll know when they go to Chispa, they can buy what you have to sell, or they can put in a specific order from you.
Yes.
Because you normally sell out. Your pieces are very,
Yeah.
very popular.
Yeah, I sell out, yeah.
We have several artists that have sold out at the show the first 2 years. It's been absolutely fantastic.
It has been. Last year, I went into the La Terraza in the La Fonda, and there was a line to get in. And I did go to several of them, and they were already sold out.
Yeah.
You're
It
right.
was wonderful.
Floyd, your work is absolutely beautiful. Is there anything
you.
else you want to tell us about your work that I haven't talked about?
Well, it's a family thing. We use aspen and cedar,
Okay.
and those are the only woods that we use.
Okay, so I see cedar here and aspen. This looks like a combination. Is this all cedar?
It's all cedar. Cedar has
Absolutely
a
beautiful.
heart that is red,
Uh-huh.
and like in the edge where the bark is at, is white. That's why you get that
Oh,
white piece.
God, that is so precious. And the little rhinoceros. Okay, it's not a
What
pig.
I'd like to point out on this one, that's so beautiful, is these little rabbits are playing musical instruments.
They are.
And I think that's just so delightful.
That is so cute. It looks like he's playing the guitar, the violin, the drum. We have another guitar, and this one's playing the trumpet. And the little tiny eyes, oh my gosh, I wish you could zoom in on this, but the little eyes are not painted in. They're actually little pieces of wood.
Yeah.
They're tiny
Yeah.
little pieces of wood as they are in here. You can see how fine the detail is. You can see how he's mastered his art. When you said Cordova tradition, there are different traditions of wood carving.
Yes, there's the Ortegas from Tezuque,
Okay.
the Barrelas from Taos,
And you are the
Cordova.
Cordovas. Oh, it's fabulous. I can hardly wait to see your work at Chispa.
Thank you.
This is your piece, isn't it?
Yes.
It's gorgeous.
No, it's
He's
my
working on it.
It's my wife's.
Oh,
My wife has this thing. I make a piece and she likes it. She'll take it.
so you're like, wait, I need that for the show.
But she says no way.
Oh,
And I do what my wife tells me. Right.
you're a good husband
I
and
am.
a good
I am.
carver.
I am a good
I have
husband.
a really beautiful, I should have brought it, a beautiful heart that he did. It's a pin. It's just beautiful.
Wood heart. Oh, I
Oh.
love that.
Perfect, there's perfect Christmas gifts, holiday
Oh
gifts.
my gosh, and Chispa comes at the perfect time. It's
Yeah.
right
Exactly.
before the holidays.
December
So
8th, right.
everybody save up. I have a little rabbit that's probably half the size of the rhinoceros that is meticulous. It's beautiful. Okay, Floyd, thank you so much for being
You're
with
welcome.
us today. We look forward to seeing you at Chispa.
All right.
Thank you
I'll
for
look-
being one of our wonderful artists at Chispa.
thank
We
you.
really appreciate having you.
And I look forward to the show.
Hi, we're back with Jean Anaya Moya. Jean is multi-talented, trust me. She does relief carvings, bultos, retablos, and straw applique. Jean, thank you so much for being with us. We're standing in front of one of your most beautiful pieces.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about this relief carving.
So this is a relief carving I did, and it is of San Isidro. And it's all hand carved, and then it's gessoed and painted, all with natural pigments.
Oh my God. So you start with one solid piece of wood and carve into that depth?
That's correct.
Oh,
That's
that
correct.
is
So this is
absolutely
all
stunning.
one piece that then I kind of carved back into the wood itself.
That being the deepest portion. And then tell us about the colors in here. Look at the shoes. They look so faded and beautiful. Oh my
Colors
gosh.
are just beautiful.
They're amazing. It
Just
gives
so
it so
soft.
much depth.
So the colors that I use are all natural pigments, and I have several gentlemen that collect the pigments and make the pigments for me, and so I'm kind of experimenting with that as well. The natural pigments that were used back in the 1700s.
Oh my gosh. So some of the blue comes from what? Blue flowers, blue
Well,
plants?
the blue is actually, that was traded on the Santa Fe Trail,
Oh.
and that's ultramarine blue. But the browns and some of the yellows and the cochineal, this is the cochineal bug.
Oh, right.
Those are all the natural pigments.
And those have to be in place for Spanish market, correct?
That does. For the guidelines for Spanish market, they prefer that we use natural, traditional pigments, and that's what I try to do.
That's amazing. And then do you cover or seal it with something for fingerprints?
So
and-
then once I'm finished, I seal it with varnish, pinon sap varnish, which I make myself, and then it's waxed. I use beeswax on the finished product, and that'll
That is
preserve it.
an amazing piece. Look at the three-dimensional on the onyx. And San Isidro, who is the saint of agriculture, correct?
That's correct, the patron saint of farmers, yes.
Oh, this is stunning. What can we expect to see? Things like this at Chispa?
So I'm working on another piece, and I'm hoping to have it done before Chispas. But a lot of the work I do as well is a straw applique. So you will be seeing a lot of straw applique that I will be doing there as well. And I like to do similar stuff like this, very pictorial. I like to tell stories with my artwork, so you will be seeing a lot of that type of work at
Oh, I'm
Chispas.
looking at this. I know you did this in collaboration with Lawrence Baca, who is
yeah.
a silversmith.
And who is also one of our Chispa artists.
Absolutely. Look
Yes.
at that. That is all straw applique. Those pieces of straw are just minute. That
Yeah.
is gorgeous.
So this is something me and Lawrence have done for several years. I do the straw applique, and then he will come in and do a design in silver and gold around them.
So you did it on what? What is that? A fabric or is that
So
paper?
no, I use pine wood,
Oh, okay.
and then it's painted, and then I do the straw applique on top of that.
So you got the pine, you put the straw in it, and then painted it black, or is that?
I start with the black surface,
I get
and
it.
then I do the straw, and then Lawrence puts a coat of veneer over the top of them, and then he creates the jewelry from there.
That
So,
is
yeah.
Beautiful.
stunning.
It
Oh
is.
my gosh. So will you have some of that at Chispa?
So I'm not sure if we may. I'll talk to Lawrence and we'll see if we can get some
We'll see
pieces
what we
done.
can
But
do,
yeah,
folks.
yeah,
We have a few months.
right.
Let's go.
Yes. So hopefully we'll have some of this type of jewelry as well.
And then you retablos. Retablos remind me a lot of relief work.
So it's similar, except retablos are painted on a flat surface, a religious image on a flat surface, and relief carving is all carved first and then painted, gessoed and painted.
That makes sense. Right, right.
Yeah.
And then the bultos are the three-dimensional.
And the bultos are the three-dimensional images as well.
Wow, that's
So-
gorgeous. Are you the one that does all the flowers?
Yes. So I do
I
a
love
lot.
your
Oh,
flowers,
thank
the
you.
irises, and
Yeah, I try to do a lot of, we're using a lot of colored straw now. So I like to incorporate a lot of colored straw, and I kind of like to do a lot of flowers, kind of traditional colcha, like the colcha embroidery. So I like to incorporate those type of flower styles with my straw applique.
how long have you been doing this?
So
Jean?
I have been doing this particular artwork for going on almost 25 years now.
25 years.
Yeah.
What did you start with? Was it the straw applique?
I actually started with the retablos.
Oh, okay.
Started with retablos, but back then there was so many retablo artists that I decided I wanted to do another media. So then I got into the straw work.
Uh-huh.
And then I wanted to create a little bit more. I wanted to carve. I started carving my retablos. I started doing my straw images to look like retablos. So then I started carving, and then I really enjoyed the carving. So then I started carving bultos and relief carving. So my artwork has kind of evolved through the years, and I just want to keep having it evolve with the different traditional folk arts
And
that
it's
we have.
so nice that I can imagine what your studio looks like. You've got wood here, you've got straw here, you've got paints, and
Yeah.
Helen,
so-
if I might add,
please do.
Jean's a perfect example of you can do whatever you want in this show. We give there's no restrictions. If she wanted to make some jewelry, she could do that. We've told all the 15 artists they're free to do whatever they want. They're all master artists, award-winning artists, and they do other things besides what you normally see them doing. So
That's
it's really
what's
exciting because then
nice.
they can branch out and do something different.
Just be out of the box.
No
because for
Right,
Spanish
right.
market, you have to stay within a
Within
certain
restrictions.
parameter, don't
Right,
you?
we have
Which is-
guidelines, so this is kind of exciting because we can kind of evolve from those guidelines and just have fun with it. Have fun with it and make the collectors come and they're just as passionate as we are about our artwork. So it's so delightful to see their expressions when they see something that we've created and they fall in love with it. So we're looking forward to that, and it's always fun to see the reactions on the collector's eyes and when they see what we've created. So
And Jean, you know what? I think you come from a whole family of artists, don't you?
I do. I have several relatives that are artists as well, and Diana, who was also in the show with us, and she does straw applique as well. She'll be in Chispas, so you'll get to see her work as well.
That's beautiful.
Oh, I've seen your work. I'm enamored. Oh, it's just amazing. I didn't realize this was your piece. I didn't know how multi-talented you are.
Well, thank you very much.
so much. I so look forward to seeing your things at Chispa.
Thank you
This
so
is
much.
fabulous. Thank you. We'll be right back.
I am so pleased to be here to introduce Rita Padilla Hoffman. She did this beautiful weaving. Now, Rita this year was the proud recipient of the Master's Award from the Spanish Colonial Art Society. So tell us, Rita, how did you feel about being selected? This is such an honor.
It was overwhelming. It was unexpected, overwhelming, and incredibly intense, and it was lovely. Loved every minute of it.
Well, I fortunately got to go to one of the ceremonies, and I could see
Yes.
how proud you were, and you should be. So
Yes.
tell us about your work. And before you do, I just want you to know, this was a piece that was at Chispa last year,
That's right.
and we bought it. So obviously, we love this piece. So tell us about the piece.
The piece has been dyed with indigo, and indigo is the most ancient of dye stuffs. And in New Mexico, indigo is especially prized. It was an import dye, and it was so precious and so special that it was only used sparingly. And so this piece would be non-traditional in that sense, because the whole piece is dyed with indigo. The motifs in the middle are very traditional. They're little chevrons, and they occur everywhere where weaving happens, because you're creating the design one warp thread at a time. So every time that you change color, you have a different thread. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different exchanges
Oh my
of yarn.
goodness.
And this is shuttle work, very, very traditional. And all it is moving one shuttle of yarn, one color, and moving the other color. And it creates this sawtooth kind of thing called pick and pick. But you have a flat surface, and so the challenge is, how do you make it appear non-flat? Give it a three-dimensional kind of look. And there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 9 different panels in the piece. Traditionally, they were 5 or 7 or 9 different areas of design. These are identical in these and here. And what you did in traditional Hispanic weaving, as long as the piece was symmetrical, you're permitted to do whatever you want to do. So the top and the bottom are the same, as are you into the inside. The signature, this is my signature, it's a little sock.
I love that.
And it is there because I discovered that I had several ancestors, women, who were identified on the early colonial census as stocking knitters. It's unusual for women to be identified by occupation. The men were farmers or sheep herders or whatever. The women were the wife of, the daughter of, the sister of, but these 7 women were stocking knitters in the village of Rio de Tesuque, where I'm from. And so as a tribute to them, I do a little stocking before I begin each piece.
That is so delightful. I love that. Now, tell us about the fringe, because the fringe is a work of art in itself. I think it's so beautiful.
Thank you. The fringe is a lace kind, my description of it is a lace fringe. It's basically just knots, but it's the way that you knot them that creates this secondary design. So it's kind of a lace all the way through. And that happens by intertwining one section of yarn over the other section and then making a knot. So this knot is comprised of this and this.
Oh, I see.
And you do it all the way across, and it creates this lovely design. Some of the very early traditional Hispanic weaving had very, very elaborate fringe that has not survived. All of these pieces were used, and so they sort of wore out. But my tribute to them is this kind of nice lace, as opposed to just a simple knot. And so
Beautiful.
that's why that's there.
So tell us, how long have you been weaving?
I retired from teaching after having taught 26 years.
I heard she was a great teacher, too. Some of the artists were students of hers.
Students. And so about 24 years, 25 years I've been weaving. I started learning how to spin the last year that I was teaching. And so it took me a year to learn how to spin properly. The yarn is hand spun and it's made from churro. Churro is the breed of sheep that was brought to this part of the world by the early Spanish. And they were sheep that the king didn't mind that they take. The very fine merino were not permitted to leave the country, but the churro, which means crude, unrefined, and that's what the yarn is. It doesn't have lanolin or very little of it. It's easy to process. And in an area of the world where water is so precious, it was a delightful thing. The sheep provided the yarn and the wool for clothing, but also provided the food. And that's the sheep that I use, that's the yarn that I use. So I wash the fleece, card the fleece, spin it, dye it, and then eventually I weave with it. It's a long process. It takes a long time to do it. But it's a labor of love and one that I absolutely
I know you
enjoy.
love doing this, and we've been to your studio, and I must say, it is meticulous. It is so, you can see that she loves to do what she does because everything is perfectly in order. She's got beautiful looms. It was really fun to go see your studio.
It was delightful to have you there.
And it's delightful to have this beautiful piece. We enjoy it every day.
To see it in somebody's wall. That doesn't always happen, that people take it away and then you never see it. This is a magnificent display of my work.
Well, thank you once again for participating in Chispa, and we look forward to seeing you on December 8th.
I'm delighted. Thank you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, and welcome Arlene Cisneros Sena. We're just so delighted to have you here today, and
Thanks, Harriet.
and mostly we're delighted to have you for the third year at Chispa. So we're standing by this piece that Arlene did, and Arlene, tell us about the piece.
Well, this is Kateri Tekakwitha. She is a patron of Native Americans, patron of the ecology. And she was just, oh my goodness, I forgot the word. That she was just made a saint back in October, a year ago. So that's why she's so special.
The first Native American.
She's the first Native American, thank you. Yeah, and I'm really proud of this piece. Proud to be at Chispa for the third year. It's a lot of fun.
We're glad you're there. Now, we know you have these beautiful large pieces at the show. Do you also have some small pieces?
You know, I love doing the small pieces, and they're almost as much work as the large pieces, but I just love doing the miniatures. Now, they're fewer and far between, and they seem to go a little quicker, but I do. I love this. And in fact, this one happens to be my granddaughter.
Oh, how adorable.
Which is why I bring her every once in a while.
Oh,
and
that's so
I
sweet.
decided to portray her as an angel. Why not?
I'm sure she is an angel. I think I met her, and
You
she's
did.
adorable.
Yes,
she's
Ava.
very adorable.
And the older Ellie, so yes.
Now, Arlene has won some major awards, as have all the artists that are in this show. And I know one of the awards you won was the Governor's Award of Excellence in the Arts.
Yes.
That must have been a thrill to win that award.
I can't even begin to tell you, just to know that it's such a tremendous honor. That's a big award. And,
It is.
And it was an amazing time. It really feels so wonderful to be honored in that way.
That's wonderful.
It was. I think that was in 2012.
So you've been doing this for how long?
Well, most of my life. I've been an artist all of my life. I didn't start doing santos until probably adulthood. But I've always had that in my head. I've been going to Spanish Market, for instance, and I've been doing work, devotional work for many years. And this is where my heart is. This is where I need to be. This is what I was meant to do.
Well, it sure shows because
Thank
there's
you.
so much feeling and beauty in your pieces, and the colors are so vivid and they're so special. So tell us about the colors. I know.
Well, they're all oxides and dyes, and they basically dye the gesso. So I don't use much of a medium. I just sort of put it on there and let the gesso absorb these pretty rich pigments. This is cochineal, which is a bug.
Right?
Indigo, the very dark blue, micaceous clay. There's, as I said, they're oxides and dyes.
The gold is so beautiful. I mean, it really is a beautiful halo look.
It comes back from my Catholic school days, where I love seeing flash and shine and glitter and you know, the foil on these little holy cards that you were given for a good work done. That came back years later in accents of gold leaf on all my pieces.
Great. Well, we're just so interested to see what you're going to bring this year. Every year it's a new surprise, and this is Arlene's 3rd year at Chispa, and
It is.
she's one of the artists that seems to sell out pretty early, even though she's got all kinds of things to sell. But the collectors go running to your section
that's
and
nice.
just love your work.
I love being there.
There was a man that was at the show last year, and he came very early, and he was the first one in line, and he's from back east somewhere. Where?
Yes, that was,
From New Hampshire, I think.
yes.
And
yes.
he says, now I'm here, and will I be the first one in? And he had a, you know,
I
he
remember
says,
this,
now tell me
yes.
where Arlene's, can you tell me where her booth is? Because we did not let anyone in early. I was the monitor. And we wanted to make sure that it
Right.
opens at 10 and they will come in at 10. So no
And we were
early
mobbed.
shopping.
Yeah.
And we were mobbed. The line was out to the elevator, and then downstairs it was out the door. So
It's so
he made
appreciated.
a dash over to your table, and he bought something. So
He did, yes.
well, good luck this year on
Thank
Chispa,
you.
and we're so happy to have you.
I love being
And-
part of it. Thank you
Great.
for everything.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And we'll be right back. Welcome back, and welcome Lawrence Baca. It's a privilege and a pleasure to have you as one of the Chispa artists and also as a good friend.
Well, thank you, and so proud to be part of the show.
Well, I've known Lawrence for a number of years, and I have a lot of pieces of his. You can really call me a collector, right? It's
Definitely.
embarrassing. I brought out this whole tray of beads and things that he's made, and I have quite a nice collection that I treasure and really value. But
We
Lawrence
really-
is a fixture in this community, and anyone, when I wear my Baca beads and my Baca jewelry, people come up to me and say, "Is that from Lawrence Baca?" And I said, "Yes, it is."
We really appreciate it. It's, you know, when you make a living as an artist, it's just so great to have collectors and friends, and
You do have a lot of collectors, I must say. It's always exciting when the doors open at Chispa and so many people go running over to Lawrence Baca's table. And he's one of the most popular artists there. Actually, they all are. They all do really well. It's exciting.
it is. It's
And that's why we picked these special 15 artists, because they have a lot of years behind them doing their art, and they have a lot of loyal collectors.
and we share collectors and we share
Yes.
customers, and it's nice because it's a one-day show, and that's just easier on us.
So tell us about your jewelry. I'm talking about Lawrence Baca, but there might be some people out there, can't be many, that don't know who you are. So tell us what you do.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll try to keep it brief, but I started off selling jewelry. Maria, my wife, worked at Ortega's, and I was selling for one of her silversmiths. And we got busy to the point where I would go to his studio and help him do kind of the grinding and filing and stuff like that. But I watched him fabricate, and that was what caught me. And I took continuing education classes in metalworks, and then started doing it as a living. Market is really a big part of our success,
Spanish market.
Spanish market, and then we were lucky enough to be represented by Packard's on the plaza when it was Packard's, and in a nutshell, we've been doing it ever since.
Well, you've done a wonderful job. I mean, it's wonderful to see your work. Now, I know you do handmade, very special pieces, so tell us about that.
It's all fabricated, so it starts off as sheet, you know, and so I cut it from there. So you're using, and I use hand tools. We do some casting, but the casting I do are more overlays, so I'll incorporate that with fabricated pieces, and so it's a lot of labor, but it's fun, and every piece is pretty unique because I try to change things up all the time.
Well, you brought a couple of pieces that are very unique. Why don't you talk about those?
Well, first of all, this is a double-sided cross, and it has moonstone, garnet, and amber in it, and it has 18 karat gold and 24 karat gold. And I cut,
So that's the one side, and then
yeah,
it's got a,
yeah, and this is the
another
other side. And I cut holes in the back to resemble church windows or something similar to that.
it's beautiful.
And it has work on all sides. There's work on the bottom and on the sides as well. So
It's a piece of, it's a beautiful piece of art.
thank you. All
It's
right.
lovely. And then you've got this other piece
I have
that's
this
so
piece.
interesting.
It's a pyx or osteria, and it was used and is used to carry the Holy Sacrament to people that can't go to church or that can't receive the sacrament at church. So priests or whoever might be wearing this and administering the Holy Sacrament would put it in here, the host, close it up, and then wear it. And again, this is an older piece. We kept this piece for ourselves, and it was. I wish I could do more pieces like this, and I think
It
that I
must be
probably-
hard to give up pieces, you know, you get attached to them and
Yeah,
then you want to keep them.
yeah, definitely,
I
definitely.
know Maria, your wife, has several pieces and she says, oh, well, this is mine.
Right.
I'll comment on it and she'll say, oh, well, this is my piece.
And I said, well, I can make another. but no, she has some special pieces, and I think it's important for artists to keep their own pieces. But making a living, it's not always that
Right.
easy.
Well, I have this beautiful bracelet that I bought a few years ago, and I saw it when it was in its infancy. The silver bracelet part was flat, and then all of the pieces that go on it, the moonstone and the 18 karat gold and silver pieces were all
overlays.
separate. There's some separate pieces here. And it wasn't even stamped, I don't believe, when I first saw it. So it's got all this beautiful stamping on it, and I fell in love with it. And I decided to buy it before it was even put
I
together.
remember that.
I
And there's
said,
a
I have to have
moonstone.
that.
There's a moonstone, yeah.
Moonstone.
So Harriet, I think I think we did a workshop, or you saw it
That's
during
right.
the workshop, and again, it all starts out as sheet, and then goes from there. Design is a big part of what we do, and technique. You know, technique is another aspect for sure, and it's time consuming, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, one thing I need to show is this heart, because one of your quintessential pieces that Lawrence does is hearts. And these are perfect for the holidays, and I'm sure you'll have lots of hearts for Chispa. But I particularly love this one. There's many people that have told me they want it, but I'm not giving it up.
And there's a story. It's a collaboration. The person that does the hearts for me, it's car paint. It's painted, and he's a great artist, and he lives in Galisteo. His name's Carlos Montoya, and he and his father actually do these for me, and they've come up with some great painting designs. You know, lowrider style, or just straight across cherry red, or this is a two-tone. It's dark red with black. And then I use them as a stone, and I encase them, and it's just another creative inspiration.
It's a wonderful piece. And then, of course, we can't not talk about baka beads.
That's Maria's thing.
Baka beads,
wife.
I have many
my daughter.
lengths and sizes, and the bracelets. If you want to come and buy a nice, several people, nice, inexpensive, but really special gifts, these baka bead bracelets are fantastic. And you always have all sorts of interesting combinations, so This is one I got last year at Christmas, red. There's pearls, there's some with gold, there's some with all different kinds of stones.
And all the credit goes to Maria and Ellen, my daughter. Ellen works with us full-time, and Maria is the brain behind the beads.
It's great. And all these beautiful pendants look so nice on baka beads.
They go well together.
So how long have you been making jewelry, Lance?
Oh, 27 years, I believe, something like that, close to 30.
He's a master. He's won a lot of awards. You won the Master's Award of Excellence from the Spanish Colonial Society and the Governor's Award of Excellence. I mean, all these artists are just, they baffle me, they impress me, and I'm so awed by all of you.
And we're lucky to be in a group like this. I'm lucky to be in a group like this, and I think we're all appreciative for what we do. It's fun doing something, making a living with something that you love to do.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, we're lucky.
Well, thank you, Lawrence.
You bet.
It's been a pleasure, and we'll be right back.
I want to thank Harriet and Carl for everything that they do. You know, they're so generous with their time and their hospitality, and Chispa wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for these guys.
Chispa wouldn't be happening if we didn't have 15 fabulous artists, believe me, believe me. Well, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
we'll be right back. Welcome back, and welcome Ralph Sena. Ralph is one of our wonderful Chispa artists he works in precious metals and in ironwork. And he really has a vast variety of things that he does, and it's really exciting to have you in Chispa.
Thank you.
And let's see some of the work that you've done.
Well, excuse me, the family craft was blacksmithing. So I did this Damascus blade here, and ironwork was one of those things that was a necessity in the colonial period. Every hacienda, every ranch had to have somebody that knew how to work the iron. And so blacksmithing was part of our family heritage for many generations. My great-grandfather was the last full-time blacksmith in the family.
So did you do the blacksmithing before you did the jewelry?
No, I didn't learn how to do blacksmithing till shortly after my father passed.
Oh, I see.
But he had told me that that was the family craft. So I looked it up and found out, did some research, and it's our family heritage.
Uh-huh.
And he made a piece of farm equipment with his grandfather, my great-grandfather, that I still own to this day. It's one of my prized possessions.
Oh, really?
But I had been making jewelry already since, believe it or not, jewelry was precious metals, silver, was 87 cents an ounce. That was a long time ago. People don't believe it. That's how cheap silver was.
And the prediction is it's going to go even higher
Yes.
than it is now.
So I started doing precious metals many, many years ago, probably about 62 or 63 years ago.
Wow.
And I was well involved in doing jewelry. I worked for the Bureau of Indian Affairs for 15 years, and my best customers were Native American co-workers.
Really?
And it used to kind of bother me a little bit that they were buying my work, and I felt kind of uncomfortable. And there was this well-educated, Haskell University-educated Native American. He says, how come you don't feel comfortable like showing your work? I said, well, it feels kind of embarrassing showing my silver work to you. And she says, you foolish boy. I was in my early 20s then. She says, do you think only Italians are sculptors, the French are painters, and only Native Americans make jewelry? I said, well, I guess not. She said, where do you think Native Americans learned how to make jewelry? And it was a real awakening when I found out that, and it was documented by Mr. Adair, who they once said they were taught by the Spaniards. I didn't know that. So all of a sudden, my chest puffed up, and God, this is really great. It is part of my heritage.
That's wonderful.
In 1974, Alan Vetter, one of the earlier directors for Spanish market, screened me in the first time. And so I was in market in 74, 75, and 76. And then I interrupted for about 18 years and screened in again in 1994.
Well, that's great. Well, I love your work.
Thank you.
And I have some pieces of yours.
Thank you.
I mean, this is a collector's show. All of you were selected because collectors love your work.
Thank you.
You do such beautiful, fine work. Everything is finished so beautifully. Why don't you show the necklace that you brought? It is an exquisite piece.
This necklace is sterling silver. It's all hand wrought. It's not cast at all. And then it's decorated with real fine Mediterranean coral. So I even make my hooks and eyes for my necklaces. The piece can be worn reversible. If you don't like the look of the coral, you can wear it with just the silver showing.
Beautiful.
And then this can come off. It can come off the coral necklace, and you can wear just the necklace by itself.
By itself. Beautiful.
So that's some of it. My bread and butter are earrings, but this is some of the work that I learned how to do about almost 20 years ago.
That's beautiful.
And it's called chasing and repoussé. And that's a sterling silver sheath for this knife that's here. There's no soldering whatsoever on this sheath. It's all chased and repoussé.
Oh, really?
So it's raised from
And
a flat
it's even
sheet.
beautiful on the back, too. That is lovely.
Thank you.
You know, we had mentioned before that the artists don't have any restrictions for this show as opposed to other shows. This is a small, very exclusive show, so we want you to do whatever you want to do.
Thank you.
And the first year of the show, you brought some paintings, which was
Yes.
really exciting to see a jeweler bring paintings. So we really appreciate having you in the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for doing all that you do for us.
Well, it's our pleasure. And Carl and I represent a group of collectors that have selected our favorites, and you are one of our favorites.
Thank
So
you very much, Harriet.
we thank you so much for doing this. Welcome back. Well, this has really been a fun day talking to 6 of the 15 Chispa artists. Aren't they fantastic? I mean, it just is so exciting to know these people, and after 3 years, we've become really good friends with them, and they do such a wonderful job. They're so, you heard, they have so many years of experience, and that's just 6 of the 15. There's 3 more represented right here that I'd like to show you. This large piece here is 100 Madonnas by Marie Romero Cash, and she does these beautiful carvings, and she paints each one. This is an example of her work, and she will be at Chispa. She won the Mayor's Award of Excellence this year in the arts, so we're very proud of her. This sculpture here is by Kathleen Wall. She's a Native American. Of the 15 artists, we have 5 Native Americans. And she does these charming sculptures with this wonderful smile, and you will see some delightful pieces that she's going to bring. I think she's got some nice surprises. And then the pot on the bottom is by another Native American, Robert Tenario, and he did this train pot, and he will have some of his train pots at the show of different sizes, but he will tell you an entire story about who's in the train, where the train is going, what's happening underneath the train. So you're going to see all kinds of wonderful things. There's one more jeweler, we have another sculptorist. You'll see some wonderful things at our show. The show is one day only, and as we mentioned, this is a show that was put together by collectors, our favorites, so come and be one of the favorites. People have asked us who benefits from Chispa, and who benefits from Chispa are the artists. The monies do not go to any organization. All the money goes to the artists. The artists actually pay a small table fee, and then we have a lot of friends and relatives and acquaintances that donate the rest, and about 50% of the money that it costs to run this show is raised by generous donors, so we thank them. The show will be on December 8th at La Fonda on the Plaza in the La Terraza room. The La Terraza room, in my mind, is the quintessential room of any rooms in Santa Fe. It's on the 2nd floor in the back of the hotel. It overlooks the Basilica. And so far, the first 2 years, It's been a beautiful day, so we've had beautiful views. It's a room that a lot of brides pick to be married in, so it's a pretty special room. Also during the day, we're going to have live music. We have 3 different groups that'll be entertaining. These are all New Mexico musicians, just as the artists are all New Mexico artists. And I think you'll enjoy the music. It's very festive and toe-tapping. And this is a good time to buy some holiday gifts and support these artists who work so hard and have done so well over the years. I think the person that has worked the shortest amount of time that we interviewed today was about 24 years. So these are all well-experienced artists. So I think you'll enjoy the show. We look forward to seeing you, and we want to sign off and say thank you for watching.